Your bike was already telling you something was wrong. You just didn't hear it. Death wobble is not a freak accident. It is not random. It is the handlebars snapping left and right faster than your nervous system can respond. And in many cases, the bike may have been building toward that moment through ignored setup, wear, loading, or maintenance issues. In this video, you'll know exactly why it happens, what your instincts get wrong, and what those 3 seconds actually demand from you. Here's the number that reframes everything. Motorcycle dynamics. Research puts wobble frequency at around 6 to 8 cycles per second. That is the steering system snapping left and right up to 8 times every single second. Your average human reaction time is around 1/4 of a second. By the time your brain registers the movement and sends the signal to your hands, the bike has already snapped through 1 or 2 full oscillations. You are not going to muscle this straight. You are not going to outreact it, which means the fight is not in those 3 seconds. The fight happens before that, in your garage, at the tire shop, in how you load and maintain the bike. And if you do not win it there, the question becomes, what do you actually do when the bars start moving? We'll get to that. But first, you need to understand what is really causing this, because it is almost never what riders think. Most riders hear death wobble and immediately think, bad bike, factory defect, something the manufacturer got wrong and quietly hoped nobody noticed. That framing is almost always wrong. Death wobble is not a single defect. It is a system failure. The whole front end and chassis system, meaning the front tire, wheel, forks, steering head bearings, handlebars, frame, and suspension, loses enough damping that a small trigger turns into a violent, self-reinforcing oscillation. Damping is what kills movement. Good damping means a small wobble dies fast. Bad damping, from worn parts, bad setup, bad tires, or bad loading, means the twitch does not die. It grows. And once it grows past a certain point, the bars are not twitching anymore. They are slamming. Worth knowing, wobble is fast, around 6 to 8 cycles per second, involving mainly the front wheel and steering. Weave is different, slower, around 2 to 3 cycles per second, involving more of the whole motorcycle yawing and rolling. Different feeling, different causes, but the same root. Not enough damping to kill the oscillation before it grows. The crash rarely comes from one catastrophically broken part. It comes from a whole system losing damping at the exact worst moment. Here is what makes death wobble genuinely uncomfortable to talk about. The causes are boring, not exotic, not hidden deep inside the engine, not some proprietary design flaw that only a factory engineer could find. The causes are the things every rider already knows they should be checking, and often are not. Tire pressure, tire wear, wheel imbalance, mismatched tires, front and rear, steering head bearing condition. Worn or incorrectly tensioned bearings change how the front end tracks. The steering goes from precise to vague. The vagueness becomes instability at speed. The instability becomes a wobble when the right bump hits at the right moment. Fork condition. Leaking seals, uneven damping, worn internals. The fork is supposed to absorb the road. When it cannot, that energy goes somewhere else, usually straight into the steering system. Rear suspension. Worn shocks, worn swing arm bushings, worn wheel bearings. On Harleys especially, engine mount and swing arm pivot condition come up constantly in owner discussions because the rear of the bike feeds directly into the whole chassis dynamic. Loose chassis fasteners, bad loading, a top box, a heavy passenger, or badly balanced luggage change weight distribution, and how the chassis responds at speed. Any one of these alone might not cause a wobble. 2 or 3 of them together, at 75 miles per hour, after hitting a highway expansion joint, that's a different story. The bike was already there. The road just asked the question. Now the bikes. Let's be precise here, because this is where the internet gets sloppy. Owner forum patterns and proven mechanical defects are not the same thing. 1,000 Reddit posts saying a bike wobbles is not the same as NHTSA confirming a defect. What follows is what the evidence actually supports, not more than that. Dyna Wobble has enough owner discussion behind it that it has its own vocabulary in Harley forums. Riders talk about it constantly: shocks, engine mounts, swing arm pivot condition, steering head bearings, tires, loading, rider input. Some owners insist it is purely a maintenance and setup issue. Others argue the chassis geometry creates a wobble-prone platform when components wear. What the evidence supports: a real repeated owner pattern. What it does not support: calling it a proven factory defect. The Touring Wobble reputation has a longer public history, including owner forums and lawsuits. There are documented legal claims involving Harley Touring death wobble, including cases around older models. Owner discussions point repeatedly to tire pressure, steering head bearing tension, bushings, stabilizers, suspension, and loading. What the evidence supports: a long documented public history of wobble concerns. What it does not support: saying NHTSA confirmed a defect. High-power sport bikes have a specific vulnerability. Under hard acceleration, the front wheel can go light over a bump or a road seam, and the front end loses contact pressure for a fraction of a second. The wheel snaps, the forks unload and reload, and if the damping is not there to kill it immediately, you are in a tank slapper. The 2017 and 2018 GSX R1000R models have enough owner forum discussion around tank slappers and head shake to be worth mentioning as a pattern. The R1 and CBR 1000RR have similar owner histories around steering damper upgrades and head shake events. None of these are officially confirmed defects. They are powerful bikes with short geometry where front-end lightness under hard acceleration can turn violent fast. If this is the kind of deep dive you want on your specific bike, subscribe. This channel covers exactly this every week, and we do not soften the findings. A steering damper is real safety hardware. It adds damping directly to the steering system, resistance that slows the oscillation, and can stop a small head shake from becoming a full tank slapper. On powerful sport bikes, a quality damper is not a luxury. It is serious kit that has almost certainly prevented crashes. But here is what a steering damper is not. It is not a fix. It cannot repair a worn steering head bearing. It cannot reinflate your tire. It cannot rebuild your suspension or tighten a loose chassis fastener. What it can do is calm the violence long enough that you survive, while the underlying problem gets worse underneath it. That's the part that should make you uncomfortable. The damper can make you confident on a bike that should be making you nervous. The front end feels vague. The damper is quietly doing its job, and you miss every warning sign the bike is giving you. Until the day the conditions are bad enough that the damper can't keep up, and the hardware itself is not immune. NHTSA recalled certain Öhlins steering damper kits because incorrectly machined brackets could crack. Those kits were sold for the Yamaha R1, R6, FZ6, Suzuki TL1000R, GSX 1300R, Honda CB600RR, Ducati models, and universal kits. Even the safety hardware has a failure mode. A damper can calm the violence. It cannot fix what caused it. So if a damper isn't the answer on its own, what do you actually do when the bars start moving? The bars start moving. Not a light flutter, not the bike feeling slightly nervous. The bars are snapping left and right, your hands are going with them, and everything your nervous system has ever learned about danger is screaming at you simultaneously, and your instincts are about to make this worse. Instinct 1, stiffen up and grip harder. When something violent happens underneath you, your body locks. Arms go rigid, hands crush the grips. This is exactly the wrong response. A stiff rider does not absorb the oscillation. They feed it back into the bike. Your rigid arms become a second, badly tuned steering input. The system is already oscillating. You are now adding energy to it with every snap of the bars. The response that works, and it is deeply counterintuitive, is to keep your arms loose. Hold on, but do not fight it. Let the bars move. Grip the bike with your knees, not your hands. You are trying to become a passenger in what the chassis is doing, not a combatant against it. Instinct 2, grab the brakes. Hard braking shifts weight forward and changes the geometry of the whole system mid-oscillation. Technical motorcycle dynamics research notes that braking can destabilize wobble. Under certain conditions, you are changing the weight distribution on a system that is already unstable. The right framing is not never touch the brakes. The right framing is avoid hard braking while the bars are still slapping. If you need to slow down, do it gradually. Bleed speed without adding a new destabilizing input on top of the one already happening. Instinct 3, snap the throttle shut. Closing the throttle suddenly transfers weight forward and changes the chassis attitude abruptly. The goal is a gradual roll-off. Let the speed drop smoothly and give the system a chance to settle. Instinct 4, look down at the bars. When the bars start slamming, your eyes want to drop. You want to see what is happening. It is a natural, deeply wired response. Look at the threat. Don't. The moment your eyes drop, your vision narrows, your shoulders follow, and your whole upper body tenses around whatever your eyes are focused on. You lose awareness of the road ahead, the traffic around you, and the space you have to work with. Keep your eyes up. Look where you want the bike to go. Your body will follow your vision, and right now, you need every advantage the road ahead can give you. What the 3 seconds actually demand: loose arms, knees gripping the tank, gradual throttle roll off, no panic brake, eyes up. Stop adding violence to a system that is already full of it. Your survival move is not to wrestle the bars straight. It is to stop making things worse and let whatever damping is left in the system do its job. Some wobbles settle, some don't. Speed, road surface, lean angle, tire condition, all of it matters. No mid-wobble technique is a guaranteed save, but fighting the bars with stiff arms and panic inputs is the fastest path from a recoverable wobble to one that isn't. If the wobble settles and you make it to the side of the road, that is not the end of the story. That is the beginning of the inspection. Tire pressure, tire wear and cupping, wheel balance, steering head bearings, fork condition, rear suspension, swing arm bushings, wheel bearings, chassis fasteners, luggage and load distribution, steering damper condition. Go through all of it. Not tomorrow. Right there. Because surviving a wobble does not mean the bike is fine. It means you got lucky once, and the stack of small problems that caused it is still on the bike. The worn bearing did not fix itself. The soft tire did not inflate. The leaking fork seal is still leaking. Most riders shake it off, tell the story at the next gas stop, and keep riding. And 2 months later, the same bike, the same tired suspension, the same worn bearings, the same soft tire, meets a worse road at a worse speed. And this time, the wobble does not settle. The bike was already telling you something was wrong. Now you know what to listen for. You know what causes the stack up. You know what 6 to 8 cycles per second means for your reaction time. You know what your instincts get wrong in those 3 seconds. And you know that surviving it is not the finish line, it is the inspection point. Most riders will finish their next ride without checking the tire pressure, without looking at the steering head bearings, without thinking about the fork seals or the swing arm bushings or the way the front end felt slightly vague at highway speed last Tuesday. They will ride the same bike with the same small problems stacking up and call themselves lucky when nothing happens. You will not. You now know that death wobble is not a freak accident waiting to randomly pick you out of traffic. It is a system running out of damping, built up slowly, piece by piece, warning sign by warning sign, until the road asks the question the bike can no longer answer. The 3 seconds everyone talks about, they matter. But the real work happens long before that. In the garage, at the tire shop, in how you load the bike, and how you listen to what it is telling you. The riders who survive death wobble are not the strongest or the fastest. They are the ones who listened to the bike before it started screaming. Your bike is always telling you something. Subscribe, and we will make sure you know how to listen.